I need your help. You come stay on the island. A way of avoiding all those people you might want to avoid right now. You will be investigating thieves, misers, bullies, the most detestable collection of people that you will ever meet. My family. This is Harriet. Someone in the family murdered Harriet. And for the past 40 years, has been trying to drive me insane.
Girl with the dragon tattoo. That's a bad bitch, boy. Dragon's got a tattoo of her. Shit, that bitch is scary, man. And I think that's the reason why this series is so popular, because I think that's a character that everybody is fascinated with. Like, I remember when the actual Swedish version of this came out, and it is Swedish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the original.
Yeah,
they
based on a best-selling book there first. I mean, the book was huge.
Yeah, the Millennium series, right?
Yeah, the Millennium Trilogy.
What is that? Because I don't know what that's about.
Millennium's the name of the magazine.
Yeah, I know it's a magazine, but the trilogy, it's a series of books.
That all centers around the characters of Lisbeth, the girl with the dragon tattoo. Although the original name of the book is actually The
Man Who Hate Women.
Yeah.
Really?
It's weird. Yeah. They retitled all three of the books for the
the Cyrus version is Man Who Hate Woman. The series is called Man Who Hate Women.
Shut up.
You know all right, man. Come on now.
I'm glad you guys are filling in the blanks for me, because I'm like, okay, this is a big book. When did this happen?
It's huge.
It was huge in Europe, and only a couple years back in America did they start coming over here. And I guess for some reason, right off the bat, it kind of took off here. Like, I don't know, the pre-sale was convincing, and America bought into it. They were all bestsellers here as well. And there are three movies. The trilogy has already been made over in Sweden, where, like I said, we're in Europe and Sweden. They're huge. The movies were all giant hits. And so America, of course, never wanted to ignore someone else's success. It's like, hey, we got this guy. Mr. Fincher, step forward, please.
Yeah. Now, if I'm correct, like he was saying, Carlos, this is the three books were hugely successful. But the thing is, didn't the author die?
The author,
before he
I believe, committed suicide.
Committed suicide?
Yeah, and which was weird because, like I said, this is before any of them were published. And he is an author who had stuff published before, but nothing that was ever really a hit. Pretty minor, really, like lots of magazine articles and short stories. And so they found these books among his possessions, and they turned into like some of the biggest hits of ever.
Like a book publisher came to his garage sale, just happened to be strolling by. Like, wow! Actually, the author, whose name is Stieg Larsson, died from a heart attack after climbing 7 flights of stairs. It was just rumored that he committed suicide. Actually, I heard that this guy committed suicide when he found out how scary this chick was that he created.
He created a monster.
Yeah, he's like, I'm getting out, but she comes after my ass for real. Yeah. So the Swedish version of this film and the American version are not too different from at least from what I've seen. Michael Blomkist, played here by Daniel Craig, finds his publication Millennium Magazine in jeopardy after losing a libel case to a billionaire industrialist. Now, potentially losing everything in his life, he is offered an opportunity he can't refuse. He's hired by a CEO, Henrik Wenger, played by Christopher Plummer, to rewrite his family's history, which might lead to why his great niece disappeared 36 years ago. Wenger also hires a goth hacker, Lisbon Salander, to dig into Michael's background, and she eventually ends up being his research partner when clues lead to a series of gruesome murders.
It is one of those stories, because you're right, Leon. Reading the synopsis, there's a point where you're like, okay, how is this going to be interesting to me? Yeah. Especially getting into a story, because even looking at that trailer had so much information in it.
Right.
But I was like, wow, they're really trying to sell this to the audience, because this trailer is like 15 minutes long.
I know.
I mean, and all these names, all these people, and watching the movie, I'm like, wow, there's something better grabbed me. The only one who I found really interesting was obviously the chick, just because
she got naked.
Yeah, she got naked. She's a goth chick who's like really smart, which is like, okay, all right, I'll buy into that. They did a good job of that. But overall, as far as like the mystery and everything surrounding it, I hate to say it, and I hate saying this about a Fincher movie and all the hoopla about the book, but after the film, I was just left scratching my head going, okay, so what's the big deal?
I saw it like you did the original on Netflix. Because everybody was talking about it.
Right.
And I didn't see it all the way through, I tell you. I've seen most of it. I didn't see the end. And this one is almost the same movie with a slightly better budget for what a slightly better cinematographer.
Yeah, I was actually shocked how many, at least, scenes in the Fincher film almost felt like shot for shot, which I'm like, Fincher? Really? Even though he did delve more into the mystery of it all, I thought he got a little bit more into the characters.
I would argue that it's the subtle touches that make all the difference, especially when you consider this really is the first part of a trilogy that is about the relationship between these, or centerpieces, the relationship between these two main characters and how it develops. Now, the European version, really, the biggest problem with it when you watch the next two films is you have a hard time believing that these two would even stay friends, really. There's like one moment of intimacy, and that's about it. You know, other than that, they're just kind of business associates. This movie, you really, in Fincher's version, I thought he really nails those little tiny little things that make clear that Elizabeth really does have a soft side. They also managed to create in her a sort of angel of death persona. Like in the original one, sure, it's clear this is the girl you do not want to fuck with because she will get revenge on you so many times worse than any shit you could dream up to do to her. But something about the way Fincher actually films these sequences, while they're not as graphic as they are in the original, they're even more disturbing.
Yeah, I mean, having read the book, I know I'm in a different perspective than you guys. But what I can say about Fincher's version is he does focus more on the girl with the dragon tattoo, and that she felt like. And what I didn't like about the Swedish version was like, okay, she's kind of a goth chick who rides a motorcycle, and I mean, she kind of does some mean stuff, but she's just too cute. She's a little too feminine. In Fincher's version, she seems very alien. Like, it's hard to nail her down. I mean, Rooney Mara is a better Lisbeth Salander than Noomi Rapace. Whew, I think I can get that out.
I think
You just made the posture right there.
But I mean, she does have that withdrawn, like, man, I cannot get a bead on this chick. She seems small and waifish, and yet that's why it's so shocking when she's able to commit such great acts of violence.
I'm not going to say I didn't like this. I do, but there's a moment where Daniel Craig, as a Michael character, goes and he sets up shop. You know, secludes himself to do some writing and the journalistic investigations and whatnot for this family. And then I feel like there's just not a whole lot going on.
Well, you clearly weren't interested in the mystery, and I was.
Well, I was. I mean, hold on, but you know, I was interested in the mystery, but I wish they had got to it. I didn't feel like looking for clues in real time. And even when it becomes a thriller, it's not like a thriller we haven't seen before. You know,
That's the biggest letdown.
Yeah,
It really does seem like, okay, wow, I have seen this a lot.
Look, I love Seven as much as the next guy, as much as you do, certainly. I mean, it's just a totally different kind of film. I mean, it's nothing like this. They're both about murder.
And I know, and don't get me wrong.
Yeah, you
So
can
please,
say like,
Mama from the
please,
train.
yeah.
it ain't.
You know, and that's my fault. And please, don't get me wrong. I understand.
I think it's a very competent movie, both versions of it. I'm sure the book is a very competent thriller too. It's just that all the hype that came with it for this movie series to be as popular as it is, I just don't see anything that distinguishes it from things that I see as better thrillers out there. You know, that being said, once it does pick up, I think, you know, even with me saying like, okay, I've seen it before, I still think it's very tense. There's situations that we see Daniel Craig in where you want to yell at him, get out of there, man. You know, and even when you calling him stupid, the killer even addresses it for the audience. And I was like, wow, that's great right there. Daniel Craig is great. We already said Rooney Mara is great. I think she gave one of the best performances I've seen this year by a female lead.
It was almost naked in its intensity.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it was actually naked in its intensity.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And
hard
you
to
know, the
forget.
soundtrack by Trent Reznor
And
is
somebody with a weird name. I can't remember the other guy's name.
Aloysius Cecil.
The poor guy who worked with him also on the Social Network that will fucking never get credit.
I know, but he's
because
got this-
nobody
he's got
wants
this-
to remember his name.
He's got a great name, and I was like, wow, I can't believe I never can remember that. But
I feel bad for that guy because I mean he is like the other 50% of the guy who's creating that soundtrack.
I've seen interviews with Trent Reznor. He was like, well, I couldn't do it without my writing partner. Who?
he's like the other guy from Wham.
He's the DJ.
Originally.
He's the DJ Jazzy Jeff of the group there. Yeah.
Atticus Ross.
Oh, the other sound.
This is the other guy that wrote
Isn't
the
that
music.
an interesting name? You're like, come on, guys. We should remember Atticus Ross.
Ross.
Yeah.
Atticus Ross. I think he's the killer in this movie.
Sounds like a killer.
I appreciate Fincher's touches just enough to say I do prefer this to the Swedish version. I think it's just based on such great source material, though, really. And both characters are really unique. I think the mystery in here is what makes this the best of the three of the films that I've seen, the Swedish ones, because that story is really intense. And how it plays out into a totally twisted serial killer story.
I am fascinated by this character of Lisbon. Every time the movie picked up for me is when she came onto the screen or when we got into her situations, because that's what things happen. I mean, as horrible as they are, I mean, she's getting robbed, she's getting raped, she's doing like the real cool kind of, the tech investigation. She's doing all the hacking, and plus, she just looks crazy. And that's why I think a lot of people are making for me, it seems like whenever somebody talked to me about this movie, everybody says this is such a fascinating character. Lisbon in this movie is humanized a little bit more.
Sure.
And I actually liked that. In the first movie, I didn't really care about that chick. I just like, she just got a cool look. And like I said,
that's exactly what I was saying.
She looks like Edward Scissorhands with hands.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Okay, she wears a lot of makeup and a mohawk and a lot of black.
Yeah.
Big deal. But here, yeah, she's almost alien. She's almost crazy. She's a tiny little doll. No, she's an angel of destruction.
No one here particularly likes her. I find it's much better if she works from home.
But you told her I wanted to meet with her.
But I've told her many more times I prefer her not to meet clients.
You like her?
Very much. She's one of the best investigators I have, as you saw from her report.
But
She's different.
in what way?
In every way.
And of all the things I wasn't sure that she would pull off later was that she was sexy. Because in the beginning, I wasn't thinking that at all. I was like, God damn, she's fucked up.
And that she was vulnerable, which is a quality that's not in the original at all.
I mean, this is a character that goes through every arc you want in a movie.
Well,
I agree. I thought she gave Rooney Mara gave one of the best performances I saw this year.
Well, the reason that's so great is because that character starts out cold.
Yeah.
I mean, for one thing, she ain't got no eyebrows. So
she's got him dyed blonde.
She got him dyed blonde.
So it looked like she has none.
Yeah, she looks like she has no eyebrows, and I'm gonna tell you, not only did I find that not sexy, but I found that, that scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
One guy does try to violate her, and it's scary because she lets him do it a couple of times. Just to kind of get, I know why she does it. She doesn't think the guy is that bad, and she underestimates the guy. And there's one time when she thought like, wow, I didn't think you were that crazy, but you want to see crazy? I'm gonna show you fucking crazy. That guy, by the middle of that movie, that guy, if she sees him in the elevator, he's like in the corner.
When you get to the second book,
Pissing on
you
himself?
understand why she is the way she is with all that, because the second book really focuses on the fallout from all that shit.
I think she tells that guy, fuck me. I rape my own self twice a night.
I also love this movie. I think it's really well done, and it does have a slow pace. Which some movies it bothers me, some it doesn't, and this is one where it doesn't. And of all Fincher's movies, it probably reminds me a lot more of Zodiac than Seven. It's more in keeping with that. But my one failing with it is that with both of the movies, they still managed to not make Mikhail Blomkvist the interesting character that he is. I mean, you go to Daniel Craig, he's doing a decent job, and yet there's nothing really, they don't set anything in his personality to make him stand out.
Well, how are you going to be the most interesting character when you acting next to somebody that looks like the Crow through the whole movie?
But you know,
I'm just fucking around.
But the problem is, like, it goes back and forth, but between the two characters until they meet up.
Not only do they make her human, but by the end of the film, they make her like sympathetic. I didn't see the hype with the original movie. Don't really see it with the remake, but I still think it's a very good film. I'm gonna give it a high matinee.
Well, I pretty much ignore the hype. That's why I hate hype, because it does that to you. It makes you expect more than what something is planning on delivering.
I'm not going to. Real quick, just to clarify, because I know it's making it sound like I went in with high expectations for this movie. I will say that even without knowing anything about the movie, I think I would still have a problem with the pacing in the middle.
Maybe you would, but you did mention how you didn't see what the hype was about several times. I'm saying that hype affected you on some level. I mean, you got to give me
you know,
that.
like,
knowing Corey and the type of stuff he usually likes, I believe him when he says.
No.
He would
I
have
know
felt
that.
it
I mean,
probably
even
the
watching
same
it,
way.
even I'm watching it, enjoying it, but I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I can see somebody really like getting tired of it right now, just feeling like, come on, pick it up.
That's okay. You're right. That's me. You're talking
Yeah,
about.
no, I know that, but I recognize that. For some people, it works. For some, it doesn't. I get that. But for me, I got to say, like, I vastly preferred this to the Swedish version. And not that I thought the other one was bad, but I just thought this one was much better for all the reasons we named. For me, it's a low full price.
I enjoyed this more than the Swedish version, although I wouldn't say vastly. There are certainly things about it I think sell it more, but I don't think that there's anything here that's going to sell it more to people who wouldn't like it for the same reasons that these two guys don't, which are
Right.
valid.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
saying they're not, but it's the kind of film you go into wide awake and you prepare to pay attention to. It's not a normal thriller by what we normally consider thrillers in American audiences, where it's like, okay, there's got to be beats here, 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 and here.
Because it's mostly a mystery that it is a thriller, and
Yeah.
the thriller part comes in later.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you spend the whole time focusing on the thriller, then you're like, well, where is it?
Yeah, it's not one of the things I like so much about it is that I can't think of a single other film that I would compare it to, and I think it succeeds on that basis if nothing else. And both times I've seen it, I've been right there with it, and I really love this film. I give it a full price.
The thing is, you dress a girl up like the Crow, people are going to remember her. She's going to be the one focus point of this movie, and that's about it. Girls are going to be dressing up like her for Halloween, but when you think about the movie, I'm like, okay. At least for me, there was still nothing in there that grabbed me to make me go, okay, this is a unique thriller. This is something that you need to tell your friends about, because at the end of it, I was like, wow, with the ending, which I had the biggest problem with it. Sure, you're getting a side of this character that, okay, it's interesting, but I think it just comes in at the strangest, oddest time. I honestly think this movie has the oddest ending for a movie, but that bigger mystery just didn't grab me, which makes me not really all that eager to see the next film. But I thought, with the pacing, with maybe it is so complex that people like me just aren't going to get it at first. I think that's going to be a problem for the general audience. I don't think they're going to care as much unless you're like dying to see something all that new or all that popular based on the books. But overall, I mean, honestly, this is one of those movies I walked out thinking to myself, wow, why do I feel like I have to like this? If I don't like it, I'm going to be like stoned to death, like in the middle of the street. When I tell
It's
people
not Harry Potter.
it's but the thing is, it's Fincher. I love Fincher. I think, and I'll give the movie credit for this. It's amazing to look at. The cinematography is fantastic. The score is incredible. I just wanted a Meteor story. I have to give it a Reynolds.
That's one of the things that I kind of felt watching this movie too. I was like, why do I get the feeling like if I don't really like this movie, when I walk out of this theater, there's going to be a group of girls that look like the chick in this movie that's going to beat the shit out of me for not liking
with
it.
a dildo.
They're going to not only beat me up, they're going to rape me and leave a poster in my ass.
Did that happen?
Yes, it did.
Oh, good. I was going to say, because I wrote the check and everything.
What are you doing?
Reading your notes?
They're encrypted.
Please.
Rape, torture, fire, animals, religion. Am I missing anything?
The names. I may have something.
Nobody likes people poking around in their lives.
Everybody knows why you're here.
Someone killed her. Someone on the island that day.
If a woman approaches any beast and lies with it, you shall kill the woman and the beast.
These people are insane.
Soon you will know us all only too well. With my apologies.